Hello everyone, welcome to WPF tutorials, and in this tutorial we are going to cover the ListView control. Okay, having said that, let's select WPF.NET Framework and click Next. I'm gonna name this WPF ListView. You can name it anything you want, and click Create. And let's get a minute for the Visual Studio to prep the work. And that was pretty quick actually. Alright, like I always do, I'm gonna flip my panes and we are going to start talking and coding the list view. So list view is a lot more like the list box control, but yet it has a lot to offer, a lot more to offer too. Okay, before we go crazy, I'd like to bring in the data that we used from our Datagrid tutorial. So I'm going to go back to our Datagrid tutorial and copy these classes that we used, the song, there's 3-4 classes that we have, 3 classes and an enum. So I'm going to copy this part and bring it over to our new project, so we don't have to worry about the data. We can reuse the same data over and over for different things. Okay, I mean, you can use anything you want to. That's totally up to you. Alright, so we have our data here and we got a little error here. Okay, we don't have the so the file is not what it says. The name file does not exist in current context, and that's because we already seen this. We don't have the system file IO namespace here yet, so let's add that up top here. That takes care of that little error there. Okay, let's go back to our design surface and start with our first example. So just like listbox or any other control, we'll just add a tag, a list view tag, and that's it. You're done. Well, not really. I mean, we just added the control, and right now it's taking the whole window, actually taking the whole grid area. So the parent is window, the next child is the grid, and the third child is the list view right now, and it's covering this whole area, whole lot of area. Okay, and let's actually bring in the data context as well. We can copy paste it or just type in window.dataContext, and let's say this is local songs. Okay, alright, so we have our data context. Now we can simply say item source binding song list, and we already have our visuals. We got a visual. Right now we are getting the class name, and so what do I want to display here? Technically, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is the title of the song, right? So we can simply say display member path title, and that will display the title of the class. Okay, simple, one line of code, and well, except this, data context, setting that up, it's just one line of code and you're good to go. A simple list view. Why do I keep talking about list box? Alright, so this is our first example and it's quite simple. Okay, from now on we're gonna turn up the heat and it's going to get warm or hot. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out and we're going to say, put in a region, we'll say example first or something like that. We're going to have a lot more examples, I think. Alright, by the time you're done with this tutorial, you'll know everything about ListView. Alright, so this is going to be a region. Let's call this plain ListView, or just plain. Okay, so that's our first plain ListView. But again, we can do a lot more with the ListView, right? What if you want to display more than one property? You want to display the ID, you want to display the title. You may want to display the genre too. You know what I'm saying? So for that, let's create another list view. Okay, and let's just expand this open close tags. So this guy, again, we want to set the item source to same binding. For some reason I don't get the IntelliSense for the property. Wonder why. Alright, so we are bound to our data source, and with this one, let's say we want to display the ID and title, right? Or along with genre too. You may want to, I mean, that's totally, again, depends on your requirement, but let's do only two properties. Let's do ID and title. Okay, so that's where the item template comes in. Okay, so we can't just say display member path, ID, and title. Now we are talking about two properties, so which means we gotta use an item template. Okay, so inside item template, we have to add a data template, and inside the data, we're setting the data template. We are telling the Visual Studio, okay, this is my data template. This is how I want to display my data. Okay, so let's say I want to stack panel. Okay, and inside the stack panel, I want two text blocks. The first one will be bound to ID, and the second one is going to be bound to title. Alright, so now we are displaying two properties for each record. If you want to change the orientation of the stack panel, you can set it to horizontal, if that's something you like. Now they are like attached to each other, so we can go ahead and add some margins, or yeah, margin should be alright. Margin, let's give it 3 from left and right, and 0 from up and down, top and bottom. I think that's fine, right? What's going on over here? 14. Let me run this, see what's going on. Actually, let's build first. And then let's run it. Kind of looked odd to me, so let's see. Okay, so it's there. Number 14 was, this line was kind of, didn't make any sense. Alright, so it's great. Okay, so anytime you want to display more than one property, then you need an item template and data template with it. Okay, so that's how you do it with multiple properties. Alright, so let's comment this out and per region. Let's say item templates. example, right? So we got as plain example, plain list view example, and we got an item template. All right. Let's do another one with probably the same idea, but we can add an image to it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, list view. Set item source back to binding song list, and expand the closing tag. So in here again we can do list view item templates. All right, and let's actually make this. Let's say I want to use a grid. On the left I want only the title, and on the right I want to have a bio. Okay, let's do that actually. So data templates. Inside the data template I want to have a grid, and this grid will have 2 columns. Alright. Okay, so in the first column I want to have a text block, and this is the text will be bound to binding title. Okay, I think we are back to where we started. Alright, next in the second column I'd like to have a stack panel. So stack panel is going to be creat.column1, and in here I want to have the rest of the information, such as, let's say, text block, text, let's see, artist, right? So first we want to get the artist, binding artist. Okay, it's a little too close to each other. Why? Let's see. Maybe make a background here of red. See where we're standing. Alright, so my grid is acting a little weird. They should be in separate. Oh, did I set? Yeah, I set the column. Right, stack panels in grid.1. Why it's doesn't make any sense, right? Let's run this. Maybe I should set the width. I think it's by default it's set to auto, right? Yeah. Alright, so okay, I gotta set the width. Let's say 180 for the first one. Okay, that's good. I think that's the longest song, right? Longest title. And the second one, let's give it a width of 150. That's more like it. Alright, great. So we can get rid of this background. Okay, let's copy and paste this text block a couple of times. It's 1, 2, maybe one more. So we want to get the artist, we want to get the genre, we want to get the movie title, and then we want to get the URL maybe. Let's check our properties. So artist, title, artist. I can get the ID too, but I don't know. Release here instead of URL, maybe release here. Yeah, let's do that. Release here. By the way, I noticed I misspelled that release here as reseal here. Go figure. All right. So thanks for letting me know, guys. Appreciate it. You know. All right. So let's format this here to y. Okay. So now we got kind of master detail thing going on here. So we got the title on the left and the rest of the bio about the song on the right hand side. Okay, let's make this a little nicer, and let's wrap this stack panel around inside with a border. So Control KS, let's go with tag and place a border right here, and I want to give it a border thickness, border brush of orange, thickness of 1, and what just happened? Okay, alright, I'll get there. And let's say actually the border thickness will be 1 0 0 0 0. Just want a line on the left hand side. Let's copy and paste this creat.column instead of inside the stack panel. Now, because this is the parent, the border is the parent to stack panel, we have to move it over and place inside the border. Okay, that should realign things, and I think we need a little padding or something in there because that's the line is too close to the text. Let's see, do we have padding here? Yes, we do. Let's say 5. Okay, or just 5 left and right maybe, and 0 top and bottom. Let's check that out. Okay, let's rebuild and run it. So as you can see, I mean, with ListView, I think you can do this with ListView too. I'm pretty sure you can. But when it comes to displaying stuff, I think ListView is a way better than ListBox, and we'll see in upcoming examples what I mean. Okay, let's run this, see how it feels. Okay, it is pretty cool actually. So we got a little master detail going on, and like we got the title here and the bio of the song right here. So I think it's pretty cool. Okay, let's see, let's actually make this one a little bolder, and then we'll add an image here maybe as a background. Okay, let's try that. Let's see, let's make this bold. Where was this text block? Right here, title. So font weight, let's say medium. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now let's add a background to our stack panel. No, actually, ooh. Now I gotta place this in a stack panel maybe. Okay, let's do that. So let's play. Oh, it can be creat too. Yeah, doesn't matter really. Create stack panel at this point because it's taking out the whole space anyway over here. So let's use the grid. Okay, and let's say grid.background, grid.background, and we'll use an image brush and source, image source. Let's see what we got. Okay, should be somewhere here. It should have a few pictures. Okay, I'm gonna use this guy here. So images JPEG. Alright, so I need a path, right? Let's grab the path here. Copy and paste. And then we want to say images JPEG. Alright, now we're talking. It's pretty cool. Maybe a little padding here. I don't know. Does Grid have a padding? Not sure. Let's check that out. Padding? No, it doesn't. Let's do margin then. Margin to 3 from left and right, top, bottom 0. How about 5? Okay, that's pretty good, I think. Let's run this again. Now we got a beautiful list view. Okay, I mean, we can increase the font size, we can play around with that, but it's still, I think it feels great, right? Alright, so that's a little more complex example, I mean, compared to the first two. Alright. Okay, I think with the next one we can actually maybe do on the right here on this. We can split this main parent grid and collapse this stuff here. I think we can, or maybe not. Actually, you know what? Let's comment the stuff out. What differently we use? What item template, data template? We use the same stuff. It's just that we use the grid over here and we split, you know, made things a little nicer. It's basically the same example as the item template. We just use different stuff and different layout. And additional image. Yeah, we can do image here. Okay, so let's say let's put this in a region and let's call this with image item template with image. Okay, and actually let's go ahead and comment this stuff out as well before we start our next example. Okay, for our next example, let's add another list view. Let's open close the tags, and for this guy I'm gonna just copy some of the stuff, the item source, so we don't have to retype. Okay, and let's see. So first, again, we are going to whatchamacallit, use the item template. List view. I wonder if I should copy. Let's see what we had here. We had item template, data template, grid. And I think I'm gonna start new here. So list view dot item template. Okay, for this guy I'd like to start with a border, data template actually first, and then border. Okay, and open close the border. Inside the border I'd like to add a grid. and this grid will have 2 rows. So grid.rows, row definitions. I'm going to add 2 row definitions to create 2 rows. Okay, and next I'm going to add a background. So grid.background, and once again I'm going to add an image. So image brush, and the source this time is going to be, I'm going to copy the path from here, I think that's good enough. And the image I'm going to use, it's going to be, let's see, I'm going to use this guy here. So music2.jpg is our file. So let's type that in, music2.jpg. And let's close that out. And we got nothing. Alright, that's alright, because we don't have any height and width yet. So I'm gonna add 2 text blocks right below our grid.row definitions. So the first one automatically goes to the first row, and that's going to contain the title. Okay, the next one will go to row 2, and that's going to be the artist. Okay, right, no, we didn't specify the row, right? So grid.row is going to be number 1, which stands for, actually it means column, I mean row 2. So we got a weird looking grid here. Let's do a little adjustment here. So the first row I'd like to be a height of, say, 5 star. So let's increase the row height for the first row. Next we're going to do a little more adjustment on the border side. So let's increase the height to 100 and give it a width of 100 as well. Okay, that's much better. And let's actually add a border brush of orange and a border thickness of 1. Okay, so far so good. Next I want to actually give it a corner radius of say 10, and then right now we have these corners cut because we don't have any padding, so let's add some padding as well. Let's give it 5. Perfect. Alright, so we got a pretty good looking item. Let's build this and run it. Alright, so far so good. Okay, but we want to do something different with this. We want the layout to be from left to right versus top to bottom. So instead of scrolling from a regular list box or list view, we want to do horizontal. Okay, which means we're going to need to change the items panel. And for that we we have to use the property ListView dot ItemsPanel, and in here we can say stack panel. Oops, I'm sorry, ItemsPanelTemplate. Of course, we have to set the template. Now we can say well, stack panel and orientation horizontal, right? Now we got a horizontal stack panel. So I mean, if you've seen my tutorials on stack panel, I'm sure you'll remember this behaviors. So that's the typical behavior of stack panel when orientation is set to horizontal. Okay, so basically you can scroll left to right or right to left, but I actually want to use wrap panel, and wrap panel doesn't need this property. By default it's whatchamacallit, it's horizontal. So if I run this now, now we got a horizontal list view, but that's not what I actually want to accomplish. I want the remainder, just like we did with our list box tutorial, the remainder will go down below here. Instead of going infinitely all the way to the right where it ends here, the rest will drop to the next line. Okay, so to accomplish that, I'm going to set the property called scroll. Let me see, horizontal scrolling. Scroll viewer dot horizontal scroll bar visibility, and I'm going to disable that. Okay, now it's going to try to fit the rest below the first line. Okay, plus when you resize your window, the items will adjust to your window as well. Okay, so that's another benefit of using wrap panel as your item host. Okay, all right, I think we are going to stop here. But before that, let's actually mark this list view, put in a region, and let's say we used items panel in this example, so items panel template. Alright, so that's it for now. Until the next one, take it easy.